Janete.
E aí, saudade demais, gente. Seguinte, eu já tô juntando louça pra lavar agora. Acabou o secante, eu já coloquei, tá? Tem que deixar condicionando nessa altura com a janelinha bem aberta.
Hello and welcome back to another vlog here in Brazil. Today we just got to Belo Horizonte, which is where my boyfriend was born. We got here early this morning, probably at around 6 a.m. and we took a taxi to my boyfriend's aunt's house, which is where we're gonna stay for these next 3 nights, I think. But if you're new here or if you're just checking in and you haven't seen my previous vlog, I would highly suggest that you go check that out because I give pretty much all of the context for this whole situation that I'm in, why I'm here in Brazil, and kind of like the plans for our trip. But just in case you didn't watch that video, my boyfriend is literally from here. Like, he moved to America when he was like 28 years old or something like that, and now was like a really good time to come visit his family and everything, and he brought me here with him. So that's a short answer, but basically our last vlog was set in Vitória, which is where he grew up. I met a lot of his family on his mom's side over there, and we also hang out with his high school friends, I think. A lot of his like childhood friends, basically. We hung out with them, and yeah, basically getting settled in, and we're getting settled in again right now here in Belo Horizonte. So that's the situation right now. I really had planned to film up until this point for the first vlog, but honestly I had so much footage from the last vlog that I had to include all of that in its own separate vlog and then start a new one today. So that's what we're doing today. This vlog is only gonna be in Belo Horizonte, and then the next vlog is gonna be in Sao Paulo. So I'm very excited for the next vlog, but for this vlog I'm very excited for this one as well. Honestly, half the time I don't know really what's going on. I know we're gonna visit like a heritage cultural site. I don't know what it's called. I forgot what it's called. I feel like it's called Ouro Preto or something like that, but I'll probably give more details on that whenever we go and visit that soon. And right now I think Alex is spending a lot of time with this aunt because she is leaving today. She's going to Portugal. So I'm very thankful for her to be leaving our apartment with us to stay in while we're here, while she's gone. Like, very thankful for that. But I really want them to be able to talk to each other without me interrupting them, because, you know, usually when I'm there people tend to like start speaking English and all that stuff. So I want them to like be able to just keep talking and like catching up with each other. Anyway, I just took a nap because we took an overnight bus here from Vitória, so I was extremely tired from not being able to sleep on that bus, but I feel a lot more well rested and ready for the day. So for lunch, I would say that we had a typical Brazilian lunch, with the exception of the picanha, which is considered a prime cut. But like the structure of the meal, the rice, beans, salad, farofa, and some sort of meat make up a normal meal here. By the way, the farofa is this cornmeal type of side, except I think it's made from toasted cassava. They have it with almost every meal. And then of course, like I mentioned from my last video, Brazilians usually have a little bit of coffee after every meal, which they call cafezinho, which literally translates to little coffee.
Aproveitei também, aproveito bastante hoje. Valeu, Pedrão, tranquilo?
Our next stop was the mall close by because we wanted to shop a little bit, and we stopped by this sweet store to buy a chocolate egg for me, since apparently it's an Easter tradition for Brazilians to buy or make these giant chocolate eggs that sometimes have a little filling, or like what we saw with these branding, to appeal to kids. We decided to have some more coffee at this chocolate store, but I opted for a hot chocolate instead. It's like all completely chocolate. I don't know what to do with this. Later on in the day, we hung out with Alex's uncle and cousin. We basically had drinks and a platter of food to snack on while they talked the whole time, because unfortunately I did not learn enough Portuguese to be able to follow along with the conversation.
Desculpa, ela é vlogger, mas...
YouTuber?
Yes. But I'm glad to have met them, and I'm glad that Alex and his brother got to spend time with them, which is the most important part of our trip, because they probably won't get another chance to spend with them for another few years. So the weather is like really nice right now, and it's pretty cloudy. Our entire trip has been extremely hot, so we're welcoming this rainy, cloudy weather. So today we're probably just gonna visit a few museums. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else that we're really planning on doing, right? Oh yeah, I wanted to say too that this restaurant, they make pão de queijo, but they like stuff them with, I don't know, like other ingredients, kind of like a burger, which we thought was really cool, and why they wanted to visit it. By the way, all of the places that we're visiting is not because of me, like I'm not doing the research. It's all Alex and his brother, like just researching themselves where to go and what places look cool. So yeah, don't give me the credit for any of this stuff. The first half of this day was basically spent visiting all of the museums in this area, which is called Praça da Liberdade. And I'm sorry for my accent or my pronunciation because Alex is not here to help me pronounce this correctly. This first museum was the Cultural Center for Banco do Brasil, and they had an exhibit showcasing the ancient treasures of Peru.
Só aqui que sol ilumina coisas do além que vão além.
fit.
The salami leg ain't gonna fit.
Is that a trap?
Fit, yeah.
This next museum was the Memorial for Minas Gerais Veil Museum, which was more focused on the traditions, history, and culture of Minas Gerais, which, by the way, is the state that we're in right now.
It has won like multiple prizes in here.
What's his name?
Sebastião Salgado.
I kind of talked about this in my last video, but Brazil is a huge country and it's separated into a bunch of states just like the US. What I personally thought was cool was that they have names for people who come from these states, kind of like how you would call a person from California a Californian, or a person from New York a New Yorker. So a person from Minas would be called a Mineiro, a person from Espírito Santo would be called a Capixaba, and a person from Sao Paulo would be called a Paulista. If you're from Brazil, I would love it if you could share with us in the comments where you're from and what the people in your state are called.
Abram-se as cortinas porque o grande espetáculo.
Não é só aqui que o sol ilumina, coisas do além que vão além. Quando de repente é coincidência.
This last museum that we visited in Praça da Liberdade is the Gerdau Museum of Mines and Metal. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It seemed like kind of a random museum to have, but apparently Minas is known for mining and minerals. In fact, Minas Gerais roughly translates to general mines. So this museum still talks about the history of Minas, but way more focused on the mining and steelmaking aspect, which was and continues to be a large part of its economic activity.
Eu disse pelo mar que eu vou nadar.
Our next stop was the central market of Belo Horizonte, which was probably the best place to get souvenirs because you could literally find all of the stuff that Minas is known for, like coffee, cachaça, the guava marmalade that I was talking about earlier, literally anything, and it's all traditional local food and snacks. We obviously got some souvenirs, and then we had empadas, not to be confused with empanadas, which are basically pies that have a savory filling like meat or cheese or vegetables. Did you get us lost?
No, kind of, literally. It's right here, but it's not in here. It's like outside.
after the central market was the new market, which also had a lot of little shops and places to get souvenirs. But I would say that this market was a lot more modern and appeals to younger people. This was probably one of Alex and Gustavo's favorite places during our whole trip because it has so many cool restaurants and stores, and they really enjoyed how vibrant and diverse this place was. This was where we had lunch, and to start we had this foie gras, except instead of a duck liver, I think it was made with a beef liver. To drink, we had guaramão, which was basically guaraná with lime, or limão in Portuguese. And the first entree was dobradinha, which is kind of like a menudo. And then the other entree was just a rice dish with pork jaw and the boiled egg.
Não dá não, dormir em outro lugar.
Caminhar de domingo.
É, ué. Ó, gente, alguém aí tem...
É diferente.
Good morning, everyone. We're in Ouro Preto right now. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, that's alright.
It took us about an hour and a half to get here from Belo, Horizonte. But luckily we were able to get a ride because we found somebody who knew like an Uber driver, and they took us here, and they're basically gonna stay here until we're ready to leave, and they're gonna take us home. But yeah, we're here right now. It's a really nice historical site. It's very, I would say like it's really European. Like you've got the cobblestones, you've got the really tiny sidewalks, and it's a very hilly place. We're in a cafe right now. We're just gonna eat a little bit before we go explore, and then after that we're gonna look at all of the really cool historical things out here. Also, it's pretty cold here. I'm cold at least. It's really cloudy, so if you planned on coming here, just like bring a light jacket or something, because the guy who drove us here, he said that regardless of the weather in Belo Horizonte, it's always cloudy here in Ouro Preto. So yeah, just be prepared if you ever planned on coming here. Oh my god, this is so good. Yeah, it's really good. as you already saw, Ouro Preto is such an incredibly beautiful city, and I'm honestly so glad we were able to get a ride here because the only other option would have been to take a bus here and back. But pretty much this entire day consisted of us walking from this attraction to the next, stopping along the way to take pictures of the beautiful scenery and architecture. And the quick little history lesson on this place is that it was originally the focal point of the gold rush here in Brazil. The many churches and buildings that remain all exhibit Baroque art and architecture, which, fun fact about me, is my personal favorite art movement. I just absolutely love the drama and the ornate details that are normally associated with it. So most of the places that we visited were churches, and I feel like every church that we visited was more elaborate than the last. Literally the last church that we visited, I kid you not, was almost completely filled with gold. But every single church that we went to just blew me away with how magnificent they were. And even though I'm not Catholic, it was still really cool to be here and appreciate the scenery and the art and just everything about this city.
que tinha fora há muito tempo.
For lunch, we went to this restaurant that specialized in local Mineiro cuisine, which was delicious, of course, and being in such a historic building just enhanced the experience. The other side of the restaurant actually has really amazing views, but it ended up being quite a warm day, so we opted to sit further inside since it was cooler in there. That's good. It reminds me of adobo.
Yeah.
I would say that the food was really comforting for me to eat, but the highlight of this meal was this canastra cheese ice cream. I don't know how to pronounce it. Alex just texted it to me. But anyway, this ice cream, I was really surprised to find that it had a unique yet satisfying flavor. Baby.
Okay, don't do
Very good.
Trombone não quiser assoprar e os dedos da
That's interesting.
harpa não vão dedilhar quando todo mundo cantar a capela, porque a orquestra vai parar.
For the rest of the day, we pretty much walked around aimlessly, again stopping at every corner to take pictures of the city, and the rest of the things we ended up doing were actually completely spontaneous. For example, while we were exploring, we found the cafe, and of course we stopped by because we usually like to have a little coffee in between lunch and dinner, but we didn't realize until we walked in that you could actually sit at the window of this cafe and enjoy the view. That's delicious. Probably better if I mixed it all. Someone's getting towed over there. And finally, this last church that we visited couldn't have been more perfect because it was decked out in the most gold than all the rest of the churches that we visited. Are you okay?
The bench slid so easily.
Estou a alentar, é nesse intermezzo que ajoelho e rezo. Quando é que esse show vai terminar? Quando é que esse show vai terminar?
Resposta ao drama da tribulação e do sofrimento. Para fazer o seguinte questionamento. A alegria do amor, a resposta ao drama da tribulação e do sofrimento, e a vitória da vida sobre o vazio da morte, tudo isso encontra plena realização no mistério. Outros talvez acompanhavam aquele cortejo meio que às escondidas, com medo de se comprometer.